Shout out to the Cows Gang. I'm your host, Mr. Palmer, and welcome to the show, Victim or Volunteer. What I want y'all to do, grab the nearest couch, sit back, and enjoy the ride. You know, Cows Gang, I never been through a situation where I'm doing Uber or I'm delivering and I go to somebody's house and I'm black, I'm in a white neighborhood dropping off something, and I'm trying to drop off whatever I need to drop off, and I'm getting shot out through the door, or somebody coming around the back trying to shoot at me. They saying, oh, he looked like he was trying to break in, even though I have a company vehicle that I just got out of. But I have seen many stories throughout my years where a worker who's doing their job, black, they end up getting shot at or killed. You have black people who have ran to people's houses and knocked on the door for help, and they end up getting killed. And the first thing they say was, well, I thought they was breaking in, or I felt threatened, and all that bullshit. Which brings me to a story that happened a couple years ago, back in 2022. You have a FedEx driver, well, a former FedEx driver by the name of D'Monterrio Gibson. I want to make sure I'm saying his name right. D'Monterrio Gibson. And this situation comes out of Mississippi, Brookhaven, Mississippi. Now, Brookhaven has over 11,000 people, and actually is 56.7% black, it's 39.4% white, it's 1.9% Hispanic, and 1.5% Asian, and then 0.2 other ethnicities. Now, he go out there to do his job, and you have a father and son that has been indicted for allegedly shooting at this brother. Now, the father and son, one name is Brandon, the other name is Gregory. They both charged with attempted first-degree murder, conspiracy, and shooting into a vehicle. Now, this is an upgrade from the initial charges of conspiracy and aggravated assault. And there's also an upgrade that the victim, D'Monterrio Gibson, and his attorney, Carlos Moore, have fought for nearly 10 months. So this has been a long process. Now, what happened was, this FedEx driver was just dropping off a package on Junior Trail on the night of January the 24th. This again, guys, this is 2022. And after dropping off the package, police say the driver noticed Gregory Case. You know, that's the last name, Case. Gregory Case was blocking the road. The driver went around the truck, according to authorities, and after doing this, Brandon Case stood in the middle of the road while holding a gun. Now, mind you, he in a FedEx truck, guys. Now, Gibson continued driving on the grass to avoid hitting the son, and when Brandon Case allegedly shot into the truck multiple times, the son got back into the father's truck, and police say the two chased the FedEx driver until he made it to I-55. You can't make up. You can't make up. So the father and son chased the delivery truck, and while they was trying to chase the delivery truck, Brandon Case was firing at the mother. Now, what y'all need to understand is Gibson's lawyer maintains the investigation had moved very slowly because of conflict of interest with the Brookhaven police. He stated that we do know that the assistant chief police has the same last name as the Cases. His last name is Case. He is related to them based on my investigation, the attorney said. And when the news reporter asked Kenneth Collins about this before and got the following statements in response, there's no relations. We've gone down the whole family tree to make sure that we're truthful. My assistant chief, Chris Case, is kin to a totally different set of cases. So now, the reason why I'm going back 2022, because I want to tell you what happened in 2025. Now, mind you, this has been going on for about close to 3 years or 3 years. 2025. And check this out. January 6th, this article came out. Mississippi Free Press article. Charges against men accused of shooting at black FedEx driver dismissed. Judge cites detectives' repeated intentional errors. You can't make this up. You can't make this up. I know y'all don't believe me. Well, check this out. I got the short clip of the judge saying that this case is dismissed with prejudice. God damn. Check this out, Cows Gang. Check it out.
The failure to turn over matters in discovery is just something that can't be ignored. In 17 years, I don't think I've ever seen it happen, but it happened here. And with great reluctance, the court has no choice in this matter but to grant the motion for a mistrial.
Fuck you, God.
Well, probably I should have said if you can't control yourself, I usually give people a chance to leave the courtroom if they can't control their emotions. Obviously, one person didn't, and look, I know this is emotional. I can promise you, nobody hates this any worse than I do.
Hey, you hear this judge? He say he's sorry. He feels so bad, but ain't nothing he can do about it. It is what it is, fam. Can y'all imagine? You work for FedEx, you got on your uniform, you're in your FedEx truck, and you getting blocked, shot at, chased, and everything else under the sun, and you fighting for your rights and making sure these convicts go to jail, and the judge say, case dismissed. Now, here's another reading that I forgot to tell y'all. In 2023, the black FedEx driver who was shot at was fired. And the reason why he was fired was because they wanted him to go back and work in that same area. And he said, I can't do that. I can't do that. And because of that, he was fired. Now, FedEx, of course, said that, that wasn't the reason. It was we gave him options to get another job, to go do some other and they fired his ass. That's a lot of nerve. So he do got a lawsuit, I believe, against FedEx, which I ain't mad at him. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna let the news speak its piece on the judge dismissing this case. Check it out.
The FedEx driver is speaking out after a Lincoln County judge dismissed the charges against Brandon and Gregory Case. The father and son were charged for shooting at D'Monterrio Gibson after he delivered a package in 2022. 12 News' Jalen Anderson spoke with Gibson about the judge's ruling.
Former FedEx driver D'Monterrio Gibson spoke on how he says the fight is not over and he won't stop until justice is served. This comes after Judge Strong dismissed the charges against a father and son after the shooting occurred in January of 2022.
It was thrown out due to a technicality. Even their lawyers were saying that they did what they did, but for a reason. The only thing they gave was excuses on why they did it. They never said that they did not do it.
A focal point in the judge's ruling was that the investigator Vincent Fernando with the Brookhaven Police Department made multiple intentional discovery violations, which the defendants in the case argued that it violated and deprived them their rights to a speedy trial, in which the judge agreed in that matter. Gibson says the cards were stacked against him from day one, and it led him to lose faith in the criminal justice system.
So, for me to actually go through this process and see, how it was handled and that they do this blatantly and stuff like that, it just really opened my eyes. Sometimes when you open your eyes, it kind of hurt a little bit because it's some stuff you can't unlearn. So I see how the system is now. I see that a lot of times, and I heard somebody say this, they say it works oftentimes in favor of the criminal. And I just believe that now. I have no faith in the system whatsoever.
Gibson says the lingering effects from the shooting still haunts him till this day, and he has thoughts of leaving the state for the betterment of his health, but he is pushing that off until he can gain closure in this case.
I take 2 different types of medications. I see a psychiatrist and a psychologist. I have trouble sleeping at night. I can't go outside without being scared. I don't even want to go outside. It's not over for me. So once it's over, I will definitely leave Mississippi and try to find a better place. But in the meantime, until this fight It's over. I'm staying here.
Gibson says he is now searching for new legal representation while also in contact with the Department of Justice. Reporting in Jackson, Jalen Anderson, 12 News.
All right, so what y'all think about that, Couch Gang? Do you think he got screwed? You think the system is biased? You think the system is full of or do you think it is what it is? Now, they trying to blame it on a detective. And what ended up happening with the detective, the city voted to terminate the lead detective who withheld evidence in the FedEx shooting investigation, right? So the detective name is Vincent Fernando. He submitted a resignation letter, and it was dated back in January 31st, 2025, but they didn't accept that. They was like, nah, we voting this dude out of here. So the thing about it is the officer is saying that he turned in everything that he was supposed to turn in. He did. He said that, you know, he did his part. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. That's what he say. Now, what I'll do, I'll go ahead and play this video of them voting him out, and you can hear it for yourselves on the situation.
Dismissal. The Board of Aldermen voted unanimously tonight to remove Detective Vincent Fernando from the police department. The Reader Side's Chris Fields has more information about what that decision, as well as another change that will come later this year.
Well, it didn't take long for the board to make their decision as they went immediately into executive session once the meeting began. Now, Fernando, who has served on the force for decades, will no longer hold his position with the Brookhaven Police Department. After 15 minutes in executive session, Mayor Joe Cox announced that Fernando submitted a letter of resignation with an effective date of January 31st, 2025.
I move that this board does not accept his resignation of Mr. Vincent Fernando, but alternatively seek his termination dismissal.
As Alderman Andre Spiller reads the motion.
Second. Got a motion, second. All in favor, please raise your hand or say aye.
Aye. The motion was put on a vote where all board members voted to dismiss Detective Vincent Fernando from his position immediately.
With the court-ordered dismissal of the FedEx case, it is important to note this administration and the Board of Aldermen will not shirk from our responsibility to make tough, logical decisions to seek professionalism in our city police department.
And I don't think that that's all Mr. Vincent's. I don't think it's all on him. And I feel like more people should be discharged than him because it's not all his fault.
Some who attended the meeting were not happy with the board's decision.
I believe he turned in what he's supposed to, and maybe someone lost the paperwork that they supposed to have turned in. That's possible. But as far as I'm concerned, he's always done his job the way he's supposed to have done it. Why is this the first time that he's lost paperwork?
Now, we did reach out to Brookhaven Police Chief Kenneth Collins for a comment. He told me on the phone he wishes not to comment on the case, but says after serving more than 40 years on the Brookhaven Police Department, he will be retiring June 30th, 2025. Reporting here in Brookhaven, I'm Chris Fields. 3 on your side.
Now, y'all heard this. Y'all heard this. So the woman who was speaking named Darlene Graham, who attended the board meeting, believes that it's not his fault at all. She believed that he was basically the scapegoat. You know what I'm saying? She was saying that maybe somebody else lost the paperwork that they turned in, and he said that's possible. And I'm not gonna lie to you, in my opinion, it sounds very suspect. He's the fall guy because this Judge David Strong, dismissed the case because of all the evidence has been not in the files and all that bull. And now this dude is the scapegoat. Now he lost his career. He f***ed over, and he's Mexican or Hispanic. So they basically killed, in my opinion, they killed 2 birds with 1 stone. You know what I'm saying? He said he turned everything in. He did his part. You know, this is definitely an unfortunate situation all the way around. And just like Mr. Gibson said, they admitted to shooting at him and chasing, but they thought he was trying to rob and steal. How? When he's in a FedEx truck. How when he's in his uniform? How? Now, let's call it what it is. You seen a black man in the neighborhood, and you ain't want him there. So, Cows Gang, I got to know. When it comes to D'Monterrio Gibson, is he a victim or volunteer? And I'm not gonna lie to you, I also gotta ask about the lead detective, because he said he put everything in that file. He did what he was supposed to do. He's a scapegoat, he's saying. And other people actually saying that they agree. So I gotta know, is Vincent Fernando a victim or volunteer? If anybody that run around here talking about ain't no such thing as racism and racism is no more, let me let Denzel speak on behalf of Malcolm X.
Say it, I say it again, you've been had. You've been took. You've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok. This is what he does.
Y'all tell me what y'all think. Appreciate y'all tuning in. I'm Mr. Palmer, and this conversation is over. Cows Gang, Cows Gang.